What makes a good football manager? Getting the right players? Yes!
No way! Yes! Come on!
Decision making? Are you sure? Wheeling and dealing? Nah. Relying on star players. Listen, don't let me down, you know. At the end of the day, it's about getting results, man. Yes! Listen, this player's on a madness. Open packs, collect players, pick your team, and crush the competition. You think you got what it takes? This is next level fantasy football. Ultimate Fan. Build your legacy. Download the app today at ultimatefan.com. I'm killing it.
Hello, welcome back once again to episode 3 of the Ultimate Fan Fix, brought to you by Ultimate Fan and presented by Beer 52. For gold subscribers, make sure to head to the lobby in the Ultimate Fan app and claim your Beer 52 case today. T's and C's apply. You must be 18 and over. A link will have been sent to your email, so make sure to check your inbox and junk email. £23,500 in prize money has been given away so far, and a further £8,500 can be won this weekend for game week 3, which kickstarts on Saturday afternoon at 12:30 when Manchester City host Arsenal. And just one more quick update: the duplicate cards is a feature that has now been removed. You spoke, Ultimate Fan listened, so obviously, same player cards cannot be made and cannot be played in the same team moving forwards. Lads, welcome back once again, Reece and Tom. A quick reflection, I suppose, of game week 2 is the best place to start. Reece, I'll come to you first. Leeds United, I think this was one of the talking points that I wanted to start on. Leeds United played in front of a home crowd in the Premier League for the first time since 2004. Rafinha, who was tipped up by Tom as his UF player to watch last week, netted a fine equaliser. A draw, a fair result in the end for you against Everton?
I think, when you look back at the statistics of the game and the flow of the game, I feel a draw was fair. I mean, Leeds, possession-wise, dominated, 70 to 30 possession. You'd kind of expect them to be, the dominant team and the better team, but they shared the same amount of chances. Everton were quite attacking. They had a fair amount of shots at goal. And the possession that they're having compared to their opponents suggests that they've got quite an attacking focus on their team. Damari Gray was absolutely outstanding. His attacking flair was exciting. He got his goal. He's finally seemed to have landed his feet at a team like Everton, especially with the time that he spent at Leicester. And as a Blue Nose myself, we all know how good he was already. So, and Leeds as well. You saw players like Stuart Dallas that were absolutely vital to that setup of the team, where that flexibility to play anywhere on the pitch really did kick in. And Rafinha's goal was that was brilliant. And the reaction of the crowd as well just showed how special of a goal it was.
Yeah, quite right. Tom, you called it. It looked like it had draw written all over it. It was probably the game of the weekend, would you say?
Maybe I'd said yes until sort of last night. I thought last night's game was good. I thought the West Ham fans were really good as well. It was nice to see Limbs for Fornell's goal that was behind the goal. It was Limbs all over the shop. But yeah, no, I mean there were some good games over the weekend, but yeah, the Leeds one was definitely up there.
Yeah, really feels like football is well and truly back. Tom, just sticking with yourself. We mentioned in the opening episodes, Chelsea looking the real deal, and obviously Romelu Lukaku coming in, duly netting on his Chelsea reappearance in the London derby against Arsenal, further exacting the point that this season may not be as straightforward as some people assume.
No, I mean they never really got out of second gear against Arsenal, did they? Since Tuchel has come in, he's got them sort of stretching like teams so easily. As Guardiola said before that the Champions League final, they have that sort of two midfielders sitting in front of the three centre backs playing really closely, and the wing backs are so wide, and then the forwards are quite high, and Arsenal just couldn't deal with it, especially the first half. I mean, the Lukaku goal was a like pure sort of system goal. You had it's basically 5v4. You had 4 sort of Arsenal defenders picking up a Chelsea player, and you have Reece James 3 on the right, and that happened for both the goals. But the Lukaku goal was a Lukaku goal in a nutshell, wasn't it? Just sort of rolls into his feet, holds the defender off, lays it off, gets into the box, shrugs off Pablo Mari like too easily, should I say, far too easily, and then tap in. But yeah, they are definitely going to be up there this season. I think Lukaku is that sort of missing, sort of the final piece in the puzzle for them, because they did sort of need a goal scorer last season with Werner missing, God knows how many chances. But yeah, it's going to be more exciting than last season anyway.
Yeah, quite right. I'll take credit for that prediction last week. I actually said Chelsea would win 2-0. Reece correctly predicted Aston Villa would beat Newcastle United 2-0. And he also correctly predicted that Tottenham would overcome Wolves by a goal. And of course, Tom predicting that Liverpool would ease past Burnley, that Leeds Everton would be a score draw. And then obviously just a couple of players to watch, the likes of Rafinha, Greenwood and Raheem Sterling, who we all included in our Ultimate Fan players to watch last week, all getting on the score sheet. So another fruitful round of predictions from the lads last week. So let's take a look at our teams and how they performed. Tom, I'll come to you first. Rafinha, of course, up there, and kind of that persistence with Manchester City representation paid off as they eased past Norwich City at the City of Manchester Stadium, the Etihad Stadium, I should say.
Yeah, as I said last week, I was hoping Rafinha scored. He scored in both the fixtures last season, and he had done. And I don't think anyone expected Norwich to really come out with anything from that City game. I mean, as soon as the ball bounced off Tim Krul for an own goal after 7 minutes, it was always going to be a long afternoon for the Norwich fans, weren't it? My City players didn't actually do very well. Gundogan and Zinchenko scored. I don't even think Zinchenko got any points, but for the team itself, City, they actually, pulled me a decent amount in.
Yeah, absolutely right. Obviously, Ruben Diaz with a clean sheet there. Reece, over to yourself. Also with Ruben Diaz in the squad, and Paul Pogba, who you captained, who I believe did he get an assist?
He got one assist. Yeah, so that was a nice 8 points there, and obviously Diaz with the clean sheet as well. But I like to look for players that, as much as they can be lethal up front, they can get tackles and, get the shots on target as well. And Ivan Toney's proving to do that for me at the moment. I mean, he got 4 points for tackles last week, so I was quite content with that. But yeah, I really need to get Arsenal out of my starting lineup, but I'm just not getting it. I got Southampton as my other one, so this week we might get away with them, but I really need a team pick to come through my packs.
It doesn't get any easier for the Gunners, does it? As the aforementioned Manchester City, who they take on this weekend. Just down the bottom there for your team as well, Reece, Harry Kane, who of course made his reappearance for Tottenham in their win over Wolves at Molineux on Sunday. Good news for Spurs fans, you would think, and probably a big signal from Nuno Espirito Santo that their star man is likely to stay in North London at least until January.
I think if he was to start, maybe that would be the argument. I think getting 20 minutes at the end of the game, I'm not too sure on that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in a City shirt in the next week or so. I just think if it started, it'd be a different argument. But we've seen it happen time and time again at Spurs with the likes of Berbatov and Bale going. So I wouldn't be massively surprised if he still went in the next week or so.
Okay, yeah, that's a big shout from Reece. Like you say, there's still a fair way in the summer transfer window to go. Just talking about my team, I put the golden boot on Rafinha, actually, so I got 24 points there. Trent Alexander-Arnold, of course, with the clean sheet as Liverpool beat Burnley. Declan Rice as well, who got an assist last night as West Ham thrashed Leicester. I mean, lads, we talk about dark horses from last season and teams who overachieved. It's the 8th goal that West Ham scored in just 2 games. Newcastle away, potential banana skin, and then a very good Leicester City, side at home, albeit who had 10 men. But they're sort of really picking off where they, where they finished from last season. And Declan Rice, who I thought was outstanding for England at Euro 2020, with an assist there for Mikel Antonio, who himself netted on 2 occasions. Tom, just a quick one. Obviously, we're recording on the Tuesday morning, the day after the Monday night game. The red card for Jose Perez, were you in agreement with that?
Yeah, 100%. You can't sort of have your studs showing and go into their shin sort of midway up and expect to sort of not get red card, especially with VAR now as well. Red card all day for me.
Yeah, Reece, we know there's not necessarily malice, there's not intent, but I mean, you talk about potential leg breakers and the way it unfolded, that was one, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I was gobsmacked. He's got away with effectively nothing there, with no injury or anything like that. That was 100% a leg breaker, and the red card for me, it's spot on. It's the right decision, and I'm just starting to think Kasper Schmeichel is the biggest moaner on the planet, because even at half time he was chasing the referee down the line, complaining it wasn't a red card, and it was so obviously a red card. There was no argument in it whatsoever.
Yeah, no hesitation from Michael Oliver, who, of course, for me is the best referee in the Premier League, and Leicester faced an uphill battle at the London Stadium in the aftermath of that, and were duly put to the sword by David Moyes' side. Our ultimate fan tease for game week 3 will be on the screen now. Of course, the pack drops took place at midnight on Tuesday morning. So if you haven't already ahead of the weekend, make sure to get your selections in ahead of the 12:30 game. And that's where we'll start, Tom, with yourself. Manchester City against Arsenal. We'll sort of run through our predictions once again, a player to watch. Who you siding with here? I mean, it's probably a bit of a stupid question, but I've got to ask you.
Yeah, as you say, it's a bit obvious. Arsenal win. No, City win all day long. I'm going to go 2-0 City. They've won in each of the last 8 league games against Arsenal. And I'd be surprised if that sort of run ends this weekend. Arsenal have looked poor. They've looked shaky at the back, a bit blunt going forward, and City have just come off the back of a 5-0 win. I mean, I know it's only Norwich, no disrespect to Norwich, but it is only Norwich. But there will take some confidence from that. And they look really fluid as well. Sort of when subs were being made, there was players playing in different positions and sort of what they usually would, and they still look really fluid. I'm going to go for. I know Sterling was the man last week, but I'm going to go for Sterling again. He's got 11 goal contributions against Arsenal in 18 career games, and he got the winner in both of the games last season. So fingers crossed he'll get it again this weekend.
Yes, Sterling, who picked up 12 points as City saw up the Canaries last week, and was obviously tipped up by Reece. Reece, I'm coming to you again. This time it's Aston Villa against Brentford.
Yeah, I think this has got draw written all over it, just for the few reasons below. And Villa, they got a comfortable win against Newcastle, but their recent record against Brentford is quite poor. They failed to beat them in their six games in recent times, and they drew 3, lost 3. So I think it's got a draw written all over it. Brentford defensively solid. They've looked really impressive at the back in their first 2 games. They're only one of 4 teams in the Premier League not to concede a goal. I just think it's got a 1-1 draw written all over it. And but Buendia would be my player to watch. He's managed to contribute a goal in all of his 3 career games against Brentford, so he'll probably be involved for the Villa goal.
Tom will be delighted to hear that, and no doubt he'll be sticking with Buendia in his side once again. Honestly, even for Reece, then in the second city between Villa and the Bees. On to the next fixture, Brighton and Hove Albion take on Everton. I think both sides, well, particularly Brighton, are going to be absolutely delighted with the start they've made. Obviously, of course, beat Watford on home soil on Saturday evening. I think this could be a pretty tight game. I think Reece talks about having games with draws written all over them. I can see this one being the same actually at the Amex. And my player to watch is going to be Neil Maupay. If he does play, of course, we're recording before the League Cup ties. I know he was a bit of an injury doubt for Brighton's game against Cardiff in midweek. But both times the Seagulls have scored against the Toffees, or he's been in the team. He's been on the score sheet on both occasions, and of course he's already netted on 2 occasions this season. So he's my player to watch, Neil Maupay, and I think that this will be 1-1 between Brighton and Everton on the South Coast. Tom, Newcastle United against Southampton.
I'm gonna go with another 1-1. I think this is like just the 2 games before. I think this has got a draw written all over it. Neither side have won yet. Southampton did look much better against United at the weekend, but they had the home crowd. It was the first game back at St Mary's with the full crowd. I don't know how much that would have played a part. It's back at St James's Park, but Newcastle. I was at the game on Saturday against Newcastle. They look poor. They look really, it's typical Steve Bruce team. I'm gonna go 1-1, but my player to watch is going to be Alan St Maximin. He's got 3 goal contributions in 4 games against them, and he's just one of those players that sort of plays to the crowd, and having a full St James Park, I think he'll sort of thrive on that. He obviously assisted in the last game at St James Park against West Ham, where he sort of toured with Declan Rice before setting up Callum Wilson. So yeah, I think he'll be involved in one way or another in their goal this weekend.
I actually won my UF Clash this week, of course, which you sort of automatically entered into. I packed Callum Wilson as a result. Tom, would you be siding with him here?
It depends who you've got up top. I had a look at his stats against Southampton. He doesn't have the best record against them, and he missed a really good chance against Villa the other day as well, like a very good chance. But he is a good finisher. So yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I've got Bruno Fernandes in my pack this week though as well, which I'm delighted with. So no doubt he'll be going straight to the team. So another draw then. Tom says Newcastle against Southampton. Moving down to yourself, Reece. We're back in East Anglia. Norwich against Leicester.
I don't think I could go for a draw on this one, unfortunately. So, Leicester were incredibly poor last night for me. I felt they were all over the shop, and they've been given a get out of jail card effectively here. Norwich have had 2 really horrible fixtures to start with, and they're already on the back foot, and that's going to really damage any chance of kick-starting a good start to the league. So I'm going to go with 2-0 Leicester here. I don't think they're going to absolutely hammer Norwich, but I think Norwich will put up a bit of a fight. My player to watch is going to be Harvey Barnes. He scored against Norwich in an Albion shirt and in a Barnsley shirt, so he could make it a hat-trick of clubs against Norwich.
Yeah, wonderful goal as well that he scored at Carrow Road for Albion. I do remember it well. So an away win here for Reece. We're down to a London derby between West Ham United and Crystal Palace. West Ham, interestingly, have won just one of the last 5 meetings with the Eagles, while 4 of the last 8 meetings have ended in draws. But I find it very, very difficult to look away from a home win here. I think given the confidence that West Ham will have, 8 goals from 2 games against a side who are yet to score, I think this will be comfortable for David Moyes' men once again. I'm going to go for 2-0. And I had this written down in my notes yesterday before the game actually took place, before he stole the show, or joint stole the show with Mikel Antonio. Player to watch for me, Saeed Benrahma. very, very shrewd acquisition for the Hammers when he joined from Brentford. Benrahma, of course, was a fantastic player for Brentford in the Championship. 2 goals and 2 assists in just 2 matches already this season. I think he's difficult to oppose. You could obviously argue the case for Mikel Antonio as well, who, of course, broke the all-time Premier League leading goal scorer record for West Ham last night with 2 goals. But it's Benrahma, my pick, and a comfortable afternoon's work for the Hammers at the London Stadium. Tom, I mean, this is obviously the biggest sort of Premier League fixture up until this point. 2 sides, both unbeaten, both yet to concede as well, and obviously will be staking their claim further for title ambitions. Anfield, Liverpool against Chelsea at 5:30.
Yeah, I think this can be some watch. This is, well, hopefully anyway. I don't think it's going to be very high scoring because Chelsea just don't seem to seem to concede many, but they also don't seem to score many. The home crowd will definitely help. I mean, the atmosphere at Anfield is a bit of a myth. It's sort of you'll never walk alone, and then it's just a bit quiet. But I do think it will be a good atmosphere this weekend. There is a bit between sort of Liverpool and Chelsea, isn't there? Ever since sort of that ghost goal in the Champions League semi-final, sort of 15, 16 years ago. But yeah, it's going to be a good game. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw though, and then Sadio Mane as the player to watch. He's got 7 goals and 2 assists against Chelsea in his career. He scored 2 against them last season. He scored last weekend. He does look sort of fitter than he did last season. I think he struggled with sort of long COVID maybe last season. He looked a bit out of shape, looked out of sorts, but he does look much better this season. I think he'll get on the score sheet against Chelsea this weekend.
Yeah, very, very excited to watch this one at the late game on Saturday after what's sure to be a frenetic afternoon of football anyway. To have Liverpool, Chelsea top it all off should be fantastic. Of course, you mentioned, Tom, as well, the atmosphere at Liverpool. I just thought it was worth noting. Obviously, Andrew Devine, who was recognised as the 97th victim of course, the Hillsborough disaster back in 1989. So obviously brilliant for Liverpool Football Club to recognise that prior to their game with Burnley on Saturday. We move on to Sunday. Reese, we're in Lancashire. Burnley welcome Leeds United across the Pennines at 2:00.
Yeah, I mean Leeds should get back on track here. I mean they got a good point against Everton, and you know they seem to get back into the swing of things. Burnley have really been awful at home. You know the last season and coming into it this year as well. They've only had 1 Premier League clean sheet in their last 11 home games, and they've failed to pick up a single win in that time as well. You know the last win coming against the Villa in January. So it's been a long time since they've picked up a home win. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 Leeds victory here, and my player to watch is going to be Matthias Klick. Now he's been moved into an attacking midfielder role this season, and it looks exciting. He's a good point grabber for Ultimate Fan because he gets shots on target, he gets a good amount of tackles, and he scored last week as well. So yeah, I'd have Klick as my player to watch this week.
Wonderful goal as well that he scored to obviously equalise against Everton at the weekend. Tom, is Patrick Bamford the most underappreciated number 9 in the Premier League, would you say?
Yeah. From off the top of my head, I'd say he's probably up there. He works so hard for the side. I mean, obviously he's gone in because he wouldn't be in the team, Marcelo Bielsa's team, if he didn't work hard. But yeah, he sort of has like relentless pressing. But the only thing that I can sort of criticise him for is his finishing. I do find he does miss chances. Sort of too many, but playing for Leeds, you are going to get plenty of chances. But I mean, he got sort of how many goals last season?
I think it was 13 goals. 13 goals, perhaps.
Yeah, but for a first season back in the Premier, it was a decent return, wasn't it? So yeah, he is definitely up there for one of the most sort of underappreciated strikers in the league.
Yeah. Leeds are great to watch, aren't they? We love watching Leeds. So an away win then for the Lily Whites, says Reese at Turf Moor. Tottenham Hotspur take on Watford as well on Sunday. Watford who were undone by Brighton on the South Coast on Saturday evening. While Spurs, perhaps surprising a few, haven't conceded a goal yet. They've obviously won both of their opening games 1-0. Beating Wolves at Molineux. Nuno Espirito Santo with a happy return to the Black Country. And I think that they will pick up another 3 points here. I'm going to go for a 3-1 success. And my player to watch, even though Reece has perhaps cast doubt over his potential at the club, it's Harry Kane. I think he scored 4 goals and assisted 2 on 12 appearances against the Hornets, which even dates back to his days on loan at Leicester in the Championship. And Spurs have won 10 of the last 14 meetings between these two sides. So I think that they'll be hard to oppose here in North London. So Spurs 3-1 for me. Harry Kane, I think if he can start, I think he's likely to get himself on the score sheet. Though he's only scored 1 on his last 4 home appearances. So it's not completely written in stone that he's going to bag should he make the starting 11. Tom, we'll finish then. Wolverhampton Wanderers against Manchester United. This looks like a bit of a tasty one on paper. Wolves, of course, just struggling to find their feet a little bit, and it doesn't get any easier as they welcome Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side.
They do seem to do well against United. I mean, under Nuno, they've got a couple of results against United, especially at Molineux. But I'm going to go for another 1-0 loss. So United to win 1-0. They have created chances, Wolves, but unfortunately the best ones have fallen to Adama Traore, who just can't sit the ball in the back of the net for whatever reason. I'm going to go for my player to watch. I'm going to go Paul Pogba. He's started the season well. As you said earlier, he got another assist, obviously added to the 4 assists that he got on the opening day against Leeds. I feel like he's sort of really sort of coming into his own at United now. I think he'll definitely pick up some points this weekend.
Adama Traore linked with Tottenham, is that correct?
Yeah, 40 million pound. He played under Nuno before. Obviously, Nuno rates him, so I'm guessing he'll play him in that sort of right wing back role, maybe. I'm not sure, but yeah, be an interesting one if it goes through, definitely.
Seems like Nuno's trying to obviously bring. We obviously with Matt Doherty already in the Tottenham side, Reece. Could be a few familiar faces for him in North London. Should Adama Traore head that way? What do you think Tottenham fans can expect from him should he sign?
I mean, he's physically probably the best right winger for his his strength and his pace, and he'll bring a whole new dynamic to the game. I mean, Matt Doherty isn't even really getting on the pitch for Spurs at the moment, and I don't think he likely will with the likes of Tanganga and like Reguilon, the type of wing backs that they've already got. I don't think Doherty's really going to get a say in the team anyway. So, Traore is a very exciting player at the moment. He seems, as Tom mentioned to me earlier in the week, it seems that Traore seems to be the attacking outlet for Wolves at the moment. So, he seems to play anywhere on the pitch quite happily, and he seems to be able to get back and forth. So he'd be a great addition to the Spurs lineup, especially with if he can get the service into Son, and if Kane does remain there, then he'd be a great addition.
Yeah, the levels of baby oil going to North London will be umpteen should Adama Traore head to Tottenham Hotspur, no doubt. Just another one, Tom. I thought I'd just mention James Ward-Prowse, who of course dedicated his long-term future to Southampton. I know he was linked with a move to Aston Villa earlier in the summer, but looks like he's going to remain with the Saints.
Yeah, it's good. Sort of good news for Saints fans. Boyd sort of boyhood club. It's been there since he's about sort of 6 years old. Maybe wrong, don't quote me on that, but yeah, he's definitely been there a long time. He's their captain. He's much more than just his set pieces as well. I think a lot of people just brand him as this sort of immaculate set piece taker, because he is probably the best set piece taker in the league. If you have a dead ball, you want James Ward-Prowse over it, but he works hard. He's proper sort of feisty in the middle of the park next to Romeo, and he's a very good passer as well. He sort of launches sort of counter attacks very quickly for Southampton by just spreading it wide or cutting it through the lines. Yeah, he is a very good player, underappreciated as we were on about Patrick Bamford earlier. He is definitely an underappreciated midfielder in the league, and yeah, happy news for Saints fans.
Yeah, good news for Southampton fans indeed, as Tom says. This is it, I believe, folks, until game week 4. We obviously have the international break following events this weekend, which we're all kind of a little bit disappointed by. Reminders of that Euro 2020 defeat, no doubt. Make sure to send your Ultimate Fan teams into our Twitter handle at Ultimate Fan UK. Let us know who you're siding with ahead of game week 3. Make sure to get all the players that myself, Reece and Tom have mentioned into your sides before 12:30 on Saturday afternoon. Another big prize pool to be won. So make sure to get playing Ultimate Fan this week and every weekend throughout the season. Tom and Reece, until next time, we'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Thanks for having me.